Hey mamas, I'm Muffy Mendoza and welcome to Momavation. Well, this week's national news had me a little bit nostalgic because it made me remember back when I was raising, or I'm still raising, but back when my 13-year-old son was about 2 years old. And when he was about 1.5, 2, I moved into my own place. And my mom was so infamous for coming over to my house and saying 5 words. What the hell is going on over here? If there was too many dishes in my sink, if there was somebody at my house that she didn't like, if she even smelled something at my house that she thought maybe that was off, she would come walk up my steps and she would say, what the hell is going on in here? And it just made me think about this week's national news. And as you guys know, there have been several instances all over the country of young babies passing and their mothers being accused of wrongdoing, in the act. And so it made me think about the village. The village. You know, African American people, there's an African proverb that we all go by that says it takes a village to raise a child. Well, the question I got to ask y'all is, where the hell is the village at? Because I guarantee you, between that lady, that young girl, doing something wrong to her daughter and the subsequent passing of her daughter, something went unnoticed in the village. Somebody in the village said, oh, that'll be okay, or ain't nothing wrong with that, or that she's not going to do her no harm, because normal people don't just hurt their children. Let's be honest, y'all. So it just makes me think about it being time for us to start getting up in each other's business. You know, there's this whole movement across the country of no shaming, that we shouldn't shame each other because everybody has a right to their independence and doing what they want to do. Well, what about when the independence means that you're going to harm somebody? Should we not shame you then? There used to be this little thing called gossip. And that's what our great-grandparents used to do. They would get together on Sunday afternoon after church, or on Monday after, Bible study or whatever, and they would gossip. They would find out what's going on in so-and-so's household. And it would be no surprise when Sabrina didn't have enough food in her fridge and Grandma Rachel showed up on Tuesday with a bag full of groceries. Well, we don't have that in our communities anymore, because now nobody's allowed to say nothing. Nobody's allowed to get in your business. Nobody's allowed to say anything to your friend or your helpmate, supposedly. And we're supposed to just go by and act like ain't nothing going on. Well, that's why the village is destructed. That's why our children are out in the streets killing each other. That's why people are becoming with child before they're able to be with child. And that's why we can't even live in our own communities without it being economic strangulation. Because nobody wants to be in anybody's business. Nobody is allowed to say anything. And we have to get past that. It's time for the village to stand up. And it's time for us as individuals to stop thinking that our lifestyles are beyond reproach. Because you're a part of a community. Nobody lives in solitude. Nobody lives on an island. And because of that, it's time for us to begin to be supportive of each other. And it's time for us as individuals to begin to welcome that support. Because most people who are in your life, who you know are a part of your inner circle and who love you, are not coming to you to try to hurt you. They're coming to you to try to help you, or because they feel like something's wrong and they want to make sure that you are getting the best upbringing, the best adulthood or childhood that you could possibly benefit from. So it's time for the village to stand up and say something, because we all know what's going on across the country. Gentrification in cities, in Chicago, in New York, in Pittsburgh, in Philadelphia. African American people, poor people in particular, are being pushed out of urban settings. And we're being pushed into monolithic communities where it's just us. And so we have to begin to ask ourselves, what do we want our village to look like? Do we want our village to look like a place where the lawns are manicured and where the children are well looked after and where the elderly are taken care of? What do we want our village to look like? And if we want our village to look like a place of peace, a place of solitude, a place where everybody is helping each other, we have to get to the point where we welcome support. And also to the point where we're not afraid to stand up and say, that is wrong, and we need to do something about it. So I would really encourage you ladies to take a look at your village. How can you help make your village better? Can you be a person who others can come to if they need help? Can you also be a person who your friends and family can come to if they see something wrong in your lifestyle? We have to get to a point where we love each other enough to say no, to say stop, to say let me help. So that's what I want you guys to think about this week. I think if we could get there, our communities could be 100% better. Tune in next time for Momavation. I'm Muffy Mendoza, and you guys have a great week.